Let me tell you a story. So I was talking to this girl in a Paddington hotel. Her name was $12,000 in a long-term investment, hoped to put a deposit on a Darlow terrace by the end of the year. She introduced me to her friend. This, she said, is an apartment in Woolloomooloo, with water views and a company car. She goes out with Sony executive just back from business in Beijing and New York. He's friends with just put out his second top 10 CD and touring the States next month, but still slumming occasionally so as to keep the street cred intact. They went to school together and Daddy's a corporate lawyer, but he smoked pot in the 60s and we're just dabbling in rock and roll and smack till the inheritance kicks in, private college for privileged little boys. They had some wild times together. Anyway, just then the pungent perfume of her friend approached and she introduced me as 33 years old but still on the dole, daydreaming idealist, failed writer from Sharehouse in Marrickville or somewhere. I tried to smile warmly but got little response from squeaky clean, just a clerk for a multinational conglomerate, but I still wouldn't wipe my ass with the back of your BA, you pseudo-poetic hipster doofus, if you were the last alcohol-addled artist in the universe, Smythe the Third. Anyway, so we ordered a round of overpriced cocktails, as you do, and they talked about how they'd hated Big Brother, but they just couldn't tear themselves away from the screen, really, could they? And I mean, Johnny, and that's nice, but please don't mention politics again, because you've already bummed a Campari office, and why don't you just go out and get a proper job like a real person, so you can buy your own drinks? But on the other hand, maybe you're right, and it's as hip as Hep C for us to patronise the arts. So anyway, then walks in, I've read plenty of Kerouac's, I know we're a sad man, but really I've got a great career in IT now, and sure, sometimes I find it hard to sleep at night because I've got no time or mental energy left to write, but what about when I'm old? And she'd leave me if I'm an idiot like you, so I'm always good to hit for a drink. Goldberg. And he was with, I'm thin, blonde and bulimic, so I'm going to become the next great Australian Hollywood export if I have to frig every nit that came out of NIDA, and I'm really good at pretending I'm interested in your life and beaming a smile as genuine and wide as a Nazi annexing Sudetenland, Johnson. And Benito, that's a multicultural name, isn't it? You must know Nick Popular Ethnic Stereotype. I just saw his latest ethno-realist happening in Melbourne. It's a wogway to the top. Anyway, my uncle just bought a villa in Tuscany, and that makes him more Italian than you, really, doesn't it? Because you can barely afford the bus fare out of here. And I was riveted to my seat as she explained how she'd once met a successful novelist at a 3-month dance party in an abandoned abattoir in London, and how he just bought a piece of dirt near Knightsbridge for £6 million. And I said, really, that's wonderful, what's his writing like? And he said he'd also bought a farm in California for $10 million where they grew bread and wine, and it was just like a novel by Steinbeck, or so he told her. And I said, really, that's wonderful, what's his writing like? And she said that rumour had it he'd been romantically linked with that transsexual model that won the Eurovision Song Contest, but was now very happily married to his New Yorican publicist, with whom he shared a $12 million Manhattan apartment, and who herself was rumoured to have once had an affair with Michael J. Fucks all the finest models in Malibu. And isn't it awful? I saw him in Who Gives a Shit Weekly, battering a photographer to death with his son, just like that Sean Punn. I mean, he's sure can act, but who gives a frig now that McDonough's dumped him? And I read that special sources close to her say that their marriage was about as sincere as McHappy Day anyway. And I said, yes, but are his fucking books any good? And she said she didn't know, she didn't have time for tomes like that, but she'd read a review for his latest novel in No Idea magazine. It was the third book in a series about a former Navy SEAL who became a well-meaning Southern lawyer that hunted down strangely literate serial killers, and it had glowing reviews from Jeffrey Archer. And they all agreed silently that maybe I wouldn't be such a drain on the GST if I just wrote books like that. And then my mother walked in and said they bought stories in the Australian Women's Monthly. And why couldn't I write something like that? Some kind of thin, watery romance you can flick through at the gynecologist and no one need be ashamed of. And I was about to ask my mother what she was doing there anyway when Jamie Packer walked in, with a quivering grin and a pair of silicon breasts under each arm, and said someone had left his ego out in the rain, and the orange icing was growing hard and flowing down around the Lilliputian-sized lights, and he didn't think that he could take it because it took so long to fake it, and he'd never have that recipe again. Oh no. And everybody in the bar placed their arms around him and began to comfort and softly fondle him, while I seized the opportunity to quickly rifle through their wallets and packs of cigarettes, before screaming triumphantly, "Calm down, Packer, you poor little entrepreneurial prick. The next shout's on me, rich kid." But it didn't work, and little Jamie just sobbed and wailed, "I'm frightened, and I want my money. I'm scared and I want my money to tuck me into bed at night. I want my money because I'm scared of things that go bump in my life. I want my money and I don't care what it costs. I want my money and I don't care what I might have already lost. I want my money because I'm dark and it's frightened." Anyway, by now I was just so disgusted with the whole affair that I just sculled somebody's beer and walked the fuck right out of there.